So in this video, I will discuss our first lesson for Module 1, which is entitled Units, Physical Quantities, and Vectors. Okay. So when we say physics, let's define first physics. It is one of the most fundamental, of sciences. So pag sinabi mo kasi fundamental, basic yan. Basic or foundation. Pag sinabi mo namang foundation, it is a common ground. So, ang physics pala ay foundation ng lahat ng science. And it is also a foundation of all engineering and technology. So, napaka-importante ng physics sa ating field, lalo na sa engineering, kasi siya ang foundation nito. Okay? Next is what is the nature of physics? Physics is an experimental science. Experiment. So when we say experiment, magta-try ka na magta-try. Titignan mo muna, di ba? Experimental na. Paano? Ang physicist is, syempre, mag-observe muna yan ang isang natural phenomenon. Observe muna. And then, tingnan niya kung may pattern. So, yung nangyayari ba, paulit-ulit, meron bang pattern na nangyayari? Pag meron, saka sila gawa ng theories. Itong theories na to is parang acceptable principle na rin siya. Okay, then, pwede na siyang gawing law. Yeah. So, basically, this is how a physicist behaves, or ganyan niya ginagawa yung mga theories sa physics. Okay. So, next, ano nga ba ang theory? Is it a random thought? No, hindi sa random thought. Hindi rin siya unproven concept. Okay. It is explanation of natural phenomena based on careful observation. Okay. And accepted fundamental principles. Yan ang theory. Kaya ang theory talagang acceptable na siya. Kasi based on careful observation sa fundamental principles. Next, how to solve physics problems. First, you have to identify the relevant concepts first. Siyempre, kailangan mo munang basahin yung worded problem, and then identify mo kung ano ba yung mga concept na kailangan mo para ma-solve siya. And then, you have to set up the problem. Lista mo yung formula na kailangan, yan. Based dun sa concepts na na-identify mo kanina, and then you have to execute the solution. Solve, and then evaluate your answer. Now, you have to evaluate your answer in terms of sumasang-ayon ba siya dun sa principle na napag-aralan mo. Tama ba? Medyo nag-a-agree ba yung result dun sa sabi ng principle? Okay? So, ganun mo siya evaluate. Next, model. Pag sinabi natin model, it is a simplified version of a physical system that would be too complicated to analyze in full detail. So, sa real world kasi, or sa totoong buhay, maraming details na involved na hindi kayang isolve, diba? Or kapag sinolve mo masyadong too complicated, pwede mo naman nang alisin dahil masyado namang maliit, or anong tawag dito? Pwede nang i-ignore, okay? Insignificant na siya. So, ano bang example? For example, itong baseball in flight. Halimbawa, tinapon mo yung baseball. Okay. So, sa totoo, meron siyang air resistance. Okay. May gravitation siya. Meron siyang direction of motion. At yung shape niya is makaka-apekto din sa speed ng ball na tinapon mo. Pero kapag gagawin mo siya sa physics in a model, use model, ganyan lang siya. Yan. An idealized model of the baseball in flight. Treat mo lang siya as a point object. Kasi kapag point, wala na siyang surface area na makaka-apekto sa speed, and then wala na ring air resistance. Kasi wala rin naman, hindi mo rin naman alam kung ano yung air resistance niya. So, ano na lang i-consider mo? Yung gravitation na lang at saka yung direction ng motion. Di mas madali siyang isolve which is yung kapag sinolve mo to at in-identify mo lahat ng factors, malapit lang naman. So, pwede mo na siyang gawing model. Okay? So, ito yung tinatawag na pinapattern din. So, ino-observe mo muna, then you have to pattern. Saka ka gagawa ng model. So, yun ang modeling process sa physics at sa kahit ano pang science. Next. So, sa physics, importante ang measurements. Yan, measurements. Importante yan. Meron tayong tinatawag na physical quantity. It is any number which describe a physical phenomenon quantitatively. Example ng physical quantity is your weight, your height, distance. Yan ay physical quantity. Next, operational definition. It is the definition. Definition is based on how it is measured. So, kung nade-define siya kung paano mo siya na-measure. For example, distance, gumamit ka ng ruler. Or pag timer naman, gumamit ka ng, or time naman ang mini-measure mo, gumamit ka ng stopwatch. Yan. So, yan ang ibig sabihin ng operational definition. So, pag standards and units naman, reference used for measurement. Yan, kasi kapag nag-measure ka, meron talagang tinatawag na standard. Ito yung mga ginawa ng mga physicists. And may base units at saka derived units. Itong base units, ito yung base dun sa standard. Yan, standard. Ito yung pinaka-basic measurements. Yan. Ito yung mga in-identify ng mga physicists natin before. Itong derived units, ito ay based dun sa base units. For example, pag base units, meron tayong kilogram. Yan. Kilogram yan. Ito, ang kilogram ay based dun sa define ng mga physicists. Kung ano siya. Okay. Ang derived units ay, for example, Newton. Ang Newton kasi, diba, ay unit ng force. Force is equals to mass times acceleration. So, ang unit ng Newton ay kilogram based on the base units. Kilogram meter per second squared. Ito yung tinatawag natin derived units. Diba? Compose siya ng mga base units. For example, watts. Watts. Ang watts ay unit ng power. Yan. Etong watts na to ay equivalent din sa base units. Okay? Ano ba ang power? Ano ba ang formula ng power? That is work over time. Ano ba ang work? Yan ay force times distance over time. Ano ba ang force? That is Newton. Newton and then what? Times distance over time. So, ano lang mangyari? Ang Newton, ang distance kasi ay pwedeng meter, diba? Kung distance ay pwedeng meter. So, magiging Newton meter per second. So, ito na yung tinatawag nating watts. Newton meter per second. Okay? So, yun ang kaibahan ng derived units sa base units. So, meron tayong dalawang standard. International standard or the British system or English system. So, meron tayong example ng base units which is time, sa international length at saka mass. Meron tayo sa international standard pares ang seconds. Ang seconds ay defined as it is defined in terms of the oscillations of light. Oscillations of light. Yan. Emitted by atomic source which is called cesium quantity. Yan ang definition ng seconds. Diba, napaka-complicated kasi ito ay based sa base units or ito yung mga formulate ng physicists based on their observation. sa natural phenomena. When you say length naman, meron tayong tinatawag na meter sa international system and sa inch naman sa British system. Ang meter kasi, it is defined as the distance traveled by light. By light during a specified time. Yan ang definition ng meter. O, diba? Medyo complicated din. Distance traveled by light. Based kasi siya sa observation ng physicists. Pag mass naman, syempre meron tayong kilogram. Alam niyo naman itong kilogram. Pero pag define natin siya, ang kilogram kasi is it is defined in terms of the platinum iridium. Yan. Defined sa mass ng platinum iridium. Yan ang ibig sabihin talaga ng kilogram. Sa English system naman, ang equivalent niya is pounds. Yan. Inch naman sa meter, and then seconds natin sa British system. Okay? So, meron tayong prefixes. Kapag kilo, diba? Kilogram or kilo, ang prefix mo, that is 10 raised to 3. So, pag sinabi mo 1 kilogram ay equivalent siya sa 1 times 10 raised to 3 grams. Ganun siya gamitin. Pag mega naman, halimbawa, 1 megapascal, equivalent siya sa 1 times 10 raised to 6. Ito yung mega and kilo. Okay. Pascal. Yan. So, ganun gamitin yung prefixes. Paki-memorize na lang to kasi from time to time, I will call people to recite it. Okay? And then, another example of base units natin, we have length, na-discuss ko na kanina, time, mass, electric current. Kung natatandaan nyo yung high school, di ba si Ampere, ang gumawa nitong electric current unit na Ampere. Si Kelvin din, physicist din ang pangalan kay Kelvin. And then, amount of substance, meron tayong mole. And luminous intensity, which is candela. Okay? So, we have a total of 7 base units sa SI. Base units yan. Okay? Next. So, ito example ng unit length, mass, and time. 1 nanometer is equivalent to 10 raised to negative 9 meter, which is comparable to a few times the size of the largest atom. Yan. So, pakibasa na lang tong unit prefixes. Next, ito na po yung self-assessment question nyo for lesson number 1 of module 1. Pakigamit ko yung activity template which is I uploaded sa files tab. Okay? Ito, wala pa pong due. Basta after module 1. You have to compile it with other self-assessment questions for module 1. So, that's it. Tapos na po ang lesson number 1 for physics, module 1. Okay?